step, one more house, one more cell. This is what I repeated to 6-year-old me while walking up and down the streets of my neighborhood, trying to sell homemade treats. I was tired, exhausted, and dying from the Texas heat. But I was not going to give up until I sold at least one treat. I walk up to the last store on the last street and say my rehearsed sales pitch. Hi, would you like to buy a treat from Bella's Bakery? Even though this was a rough sales pitch, I made a sale, earning myself $5. That was possibly the best day ever. Fast forward 7 years, my mom had just finished telling me her newest and latest money-making idea, elf kits. If you're wondering, what's an elf kit? Don't worry, 13-year-old me was thinking the exact same thing. After discussing with my mom, I concluded that an elf kit was a box that consists of 25 days of activities for your elf on the shelf to do. Once I identified what an elf kit was, I then proceeded to look on the internet for ideas to put in my kit. That's when I hit the jackpot, Pinterest. I mean, where else can you find millions of crafty ideas on one site? So slowly I found or created 25 ideas to put in my kit. That's when the real work began, having to bring my ideas to life. Now, most of you don't know me, but one thing you should know is that I'm not very crafty, so spending hours cutting, taping, and folding wasn't exactly my strong suit, but I used my gift of determination to get it done. Following the completion of one elf kit, I immediately jumped onto Facebook to advertise my new product. A day after my video was uploaded, I had a measly 3 orders, all of whom were my mother's friends. As you can imagine at this point, I started feeling some real self-pity for myself. But then, the text came. Miss Tiffany, who is the owner of Emma Louie's Boutique, had texted my mom saying that if I wanted to, she could put me on one of her live streams to advertise my new product. Of course, I jumped right on the idea. So on November 19th, 2020, I went over to Miss Tiffany's warehouse and participated in my first ever live stream. While on this live stream, people kept commenting things like, OMG, she's a genius, and Shark Tank worthy idea. This was a real confidence booster for me. I left that day feeling way more inclined and energized to sell kits. That following week, I sold 108 elf kits, all thanks to the help of Miss Tiffany, who didn't accept or make a single dime. But I had done it. I had made a revenue of $5,000 and personally profited $3,250. My 13-year-old brain could barely fathom owning my own money, let alone $3,000 of my very own. So of course, when the next year rolls around, I decided to get in contact with Miss Tiffany in September to make sure it was a win-win situation for both of us this time. In the end, she did not want any of the profit for herself. Instead, I would donate 5% of the revenue to a charity in her daughter's name who had passed a few years prior. I would also pay for all the shipping expenses. My next step was to find 25 new ideas to put in my kit, and then hiring employees. So I posted a now hiring post on Facebook and ended up hiring 15 employees to aid me in completing my kits. Then I appointed my older brother, Kalani, as the manager so I could focus on the business side of these kits and not get dragged into the creative side as much as last year. Then, after a week of work, the first batch of 250 kits were complete. The following week I was out of town when the second text came. 3 of Miss Tiffany's friends wanted to buy elf kits from me in bulk. So I hired 15 more employees and got to work on making 400 more elf kits. That week we cranked out 400 kits and packaged them and shipped them off to their correct owners. That year, Elfed Out made a revenue of $21,000 and I personally profited $8,500. I went from selling directly to the consumer to selling directly to the distributor. Now, most people hear this and think, wow, that's great, but it'll never grow out of the Facebook boutique phase. If you're one of those people, I hate to inform you, but you're wrong. If you don't believe me, just imagine for a second. You're a parent of 3 young, wild, and imaginative children who have just received a visit from their first elf. Your kids' eyes light up when they see this elf. Every day they wake up to the elf positioned in a new spot or activity. This elf brings joy, laughter, and magic into your household during the Christmas season. But after years of the elf magically moving, you're exhausted and all out of ideas. Or in other words, You're elfed out. So when next Christmas season starts growing closer and closer, you start dreading moving that elf. But that's when you walk past the Christmas section in Target, and a box catches your eye that says, "Are you elfed out? Because we have a way to help." Slowly, you walk over, pick it up, and then read, "This box is the answer to all your elf problems." From 25 days of pre-planned and pre-prepped activities to a bag of magical dust for any accidentally touched elves. This, as said, is the answer to all your elf problems. No longer we have to stress and worry about where to hide the elf. You can now enjoy the magic of Christmas without worry. This is my vision, having every major commercial store in the world sell elfed out kits, because every parent deserves to enjoy Christmas worry-free. The first step in achieving my dream is contacting Target to see if they're interested in selling my product. Once I have confirmation that they are interested, I then need to identify a wholesale mentor to teach me how to buy, sell, and create products in bulk. I can achieve my dreams because already in 2 years, I have 4 different boutiques selling my product, and I personally profited over $10,000. I'll bet you're wondering though, how will a 15-year-old girl get in contact with Target? That's where you come in. I need help getting contacts to Target. I need help identifying a mentor to teach me how to wholesale. If you agree to aid me on my journey, all this is possible and more. But while I'm trying to enter the major commercial store world, I still want to focus on getting into more boutiques. So will you give me $1,000 for every boutique I contact for 10 boutiques? So with that $10,000, I can buy supplies to create my kits, hire employees, and pay for shipping. For the 2,000 kits I will create this year. In return, I promise to contact Target by July 13th, 2023. I promise to contact a wholesale mentor and confirm that they will work with me by July 23rd, 2023. And I promise to give 5% of my personal income to Miss Tiffany's Angel Tree shopping trip by November 23rd, 2023. Because without her, none of this would have been possible. I'd like to thank y'all and make one last promise. To always take one more step, to make one more sell. Thank you.
Thank you.